What's up, everybody, and welcome to The Horror Within Me, a podcast dedicated to the world of horror. I am your host, Eric, and each week I'm going to rate and review a new movie or TV show that falls within the horror genre. Now, this is a show for horror fans, hosted by a horror fan, who's just here to share my opinions and experiences with my fellow horror friends in hopes that you may gain something new to watch or not watch, and really just talk about all things related to this beautifully dark and spooky world that we call horror. So if this sounds like a show for you, stick around, we're going to have a lot of fun. So let's get started. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Spooky Sunday episode of The Horror Within Me. It's me, your host, Eric, and this week's episode we are going to be talking about the 2022 T. West film, Pearl. So if you have been listening, you know last week we covered the T. West film X, where we first are introduced to the character Pearl, and I thought it was only fitting to go back to back. So we do X, and then we're going to follow up. We're going to do this week, we're going to do Pearl. And I watched both movies in the same day so that I had like fresh brain. I didn't have to rush. I didn't have to worry about any of that. I just got it all out of the way. And for those of you who've been listening or know who talked to me, I've been very interested in the movies and very interested in the actress of Mia Goth since I've been hearing her name so much throughout the horror community recently. And it must have been something that they did quickly. I didn't do a lot of research on Pearl, like how it became so quickly. But if the movies were out like done back to back almost, I think. Like they were released in the same year. So I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, it's very exciting. I'm excited to cover this movie. I thought it was a fun one to also do and get me caught up to my goals of we are in March and to cover the movies that I want to catch up and be more updated content that we're covering. So yeah, I'm rambling. We're going to jump right in this week. I'm going to start right off. Here we go. We're going to review the 2022 T. West film Pearl. The synopsis from IMDb is, in 1918, a young woman on the brink of madness pursues stardom in a desperate attempt to escape the drudgery, isolation, and lovelessness of life on her parents' farm. Real quick, let's talk about the synopsis. Word of the week, people, drudgery. That's just what I'm using this week. That is the word. I invite you all to also use it in any aspect of your life, whether it be personal or professional. If you're at work and it's just not going for you, just tell them that anyone asks how your day's going, tell them that you're in a desperate attempt to escape the drudgery of your work life today. I want someone to use it in a sentence, or I need to escape the drudgery of this meeting. You know, it's very isolating and lovelessness. I don't know. That's a hard word for me. Anyway, Pearl was released on September 16th, 2022, and the starring cast are Mia Goth as Pearl, David Corenswet as Projectionist, Tandy Wright as Ruth, Matthew Sunderland as Father, Emma Jenkins-Perot as Mitzi, and Alistair Sewell as Howard. It was directed by T. West, written by T. West and Mia Goth, produced by T. West, Jacob Jaffe, Kevin Turin, Harrison Kreis. So we have the same producers, the same director, and the same writer as X, but the difference now is that it was also written with Mia Goth, who is our title character of Pearl, which I thought was really fucking cool. Like, she got to have a hand in this movie about a character that she played in a previous film and the direction that it would go. So I thought that was awesome, and I was, very excited for that. It comes in a total runtime of 1 hour and 43 minutes. The only genre that I could find under this was horror. It is a rating R, and there is a tagline for this movie, and it goes as this: Before X, meet Pearl for the first time. I mean, straightforward. The tagline is, that's it. It tells you exactly what it is. It's almost like the synopsis. It's like, before the movie, we're going to meet the character Pearl. So I think with the tagline, so that people don't get confused when they are seeing this movie with the name Pearl, if you've never seen X, you don't have to see X, I think, first, but you should understand that they go hand in hand. The character, it goes in both movies, so you should definitely understand that going into this. The IMDb rating is a 7.0 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes has a 92% on the tomato meter and an 82% audience score. So, again, another high-rated horror, which is cool. It had similar ratings to the movie X, which I don't remember what I said last week, and I don't have the notes here, and I should have just compared the two, but maybe we'll do it in a bonus or something. Yeah, good ratings. So we're so far we have the synopsis. We have it's not that long of a movie, in under 2 hours, which most horror movies are, and we are understanding what we're going to get out of this. We have the synopsis, we have the tagline, we have everything. We're set up to go, right? So before we watch the movie, now we're going to get ready to watch the movie or whatever. Let's do terrifying trivia. So this week's terrifying trivia question is directly related to the movie Pearl. And the question is a multiple choice. It is, Pearl's husband, Howard, was serving in which war? Was it A, World War I, B, World War II, or C, the Civil War? Stick around to the end of the episode to find out. All right, so we like I said, we went over the synopsis and all of that, and now we're going to get on to the best and worst reviews on IMDb. So we've seen the movie at this point. We understood the assignment when we were going into this movie, right? We read all our research on how long we were going to be watching this movie. We did who's going to be in it, what it's about, if it's a prequel or sequel. We figured it out, it's a prequel. So now let's see what other people, if they were just as diligent in looking into this before they went to see it. So we're going to start off with the best. And the first best review from IMDb for the movie Pearl is as follows. Titled, Mia Goth is excellent. And they spell excellent, Xcellent. I like that. Just, a little play. All right. Anyway, here we go. T West and A24 have given us another masterpiece this year. This slow burn melodrama slasher pays an extraordinary homage to early Hollywood films, especially with their technical achievements, from the score to the editing to the cinematography to the fonts. Goth's performance is a masterclass in horror cinema, and the entire cast did a fine job as well. If you enjoy X, you will absolutely enjoy this prequel, even though it is more of a character-driven film than your typical slasher like X, but it is an awesome companion. And again, Mia Goth deserves an Oscar nomination. I can't emphasize this enough. I picked this as the first review to discuss because I think it was very well done. A lot of praises from Mia Goth, which again, we're going to hear. She is just really building her portfolio in this genre and is just becoming a name to not forget. And she does an awesome performance. So we're not, the use that says she gives a performance in a masterclass in horror cinema. I don't think that's an understatement. I believe that this is definitely a true statement. I think that it is definitely can be described as a slow burn melodrama slasher, and the early Hollywood films with the technical achievements. I thought that was very well done. Yes, you can't miss it when you watch this movie. What other part of this that I like? If you enjoy X, you will absolutely enjoy this prequel. That is up for interpretation, right? We don't know. I mean, most people probably would, but it's possible that you can enjoy X without enjoying Pearl because they are different movies. Like in this person's review, it says it's a more character-driven film than your typical slasher like X. So if you liked X for certain aspects of it, that wasn't the character-driven part, because we said in the review last week that it had like an hour before any action happened because it really did some character development and some things like that, and people weren't happy about that part. So we don't know, but the people that did like that part, so you probably would like Pearl. We'll go on to the next review. The next review is titled, My Favorite Movie of All Time. Here we go. All I gotta say is this is my favorite horror movie of all time. Mia Goth deserved the highest award possible for this stellar performance. Oscar-worthy and creepy, unsettling, bloodthirsty. T. West, you crazy son of a gun. I loved this movie clearly, but some may not. It's better than X to me, but some might disagree. But I tend to like movies like this, but I was not expecting it to be my favorite horror movie of all time. Great from start to finish. Mia Goth gave it her all, and the supporting cast does a decent job too. But it's mainly the Mia Goth show, and I'm all here for it. It's not scary, but my god, is it creepy and unnerving. One of the greatest movies of all time to me. Mia, T, applause to both of y'all. Okay. Um, wow. This person clearly loves Pearl. It's their favorite movie of all time. It was a hard review to read because it's very grammatically all over the fucking place, but you get what the person was trying to say. Um, I, 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 I mean, I'm not gonna knock it. I'm not gonna knock their thing. I think my favorite part of the review is T West, you crazy son of a gun, and there's like the smiley face, but like made with like not an emoji. I love that. And then it's like the part that ran out to me is that it's I love this movie, but clearly some may not. It's better than X, but some may disagree. Yeah, I mean, you're just like, of course, some might not like it, but it's mainly the Mia Goth show is one of the other reasons that I picked this review for that sentence alone, because it kind of, when I read it, I was kind of thinking like, it absolutely is the Mia Goth show. There's nothing knocking about the other cast. They did, like I said in this review too, like the other cast does a good job as well. But it was mostly driven on the mother daughter characters, and everyone else was just they had like enough substance, I guess, to be in it without being just completely disposable. But definitely the Mia Goth show, I completely agree with that. And other than that, I'm glad this person found their new favorite movie of all time. And congratulations. We love and support everyone in the horror community, and I'm glad that you have something that brings you this much joy. We're going to go on to the last best review from IMDb for the movie Pearl, titled "My God, Mia Goth!" and a bunch of exclamation points. Pearl is unbelievable. Pearl is a very rare breed in horror cinema and a rare prequel that, in my opinion, outdoes its predecessor X. Pearl's an emotional, stunning, disturbing tale showing the original and birth of a serial the origin and birth of a serial killer that would do anything to get to the top. Mia Goth gives a beyond stunning performance, especially for with her almost 10-minute monologue that is gut-wrenching. If anyone enjoyed X, I think you'll really enjoy just how different Pearl is compared to other horror films. It felt like a classic, which T. West knows perfectly to do. She deserves a hashtag Oscar nomination. But we know that the Oscars don't take horror seriously at all, which is pathetic. I love this fucking review. Um, I think that it touched on a lot of important parts within the movie as well as the horror community, like especially that last part. She deserves an Oscar nomination, but we know that they don't take horror seriously. Is true. We do need more. Speaking of, the Oscars are like next Sunday. So I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but I don't think anything like this has been nominated, but it could be. I gotta check. We should look it out. But anyway, they don't take things like horror seriously, and horror is a serious genre and a different genre compared to a lot of other ones. Like it brings a lot of comedy and drama and and thrilling aspects to it that every genre doesn't do and can't do as well as horror. So I think it's time that there are these non-disposable characters now like this to where they can be nominated for these things and I think win. And we are a big community, so if we get up for that, we all need to vote somehow. Whatever, get on your little smartphones, on your tablets, whatever the fuck you have, and vote. But another thing that I liked about this is the comment that the person starts with. This is a very rare breed in horror cinema and a rare prequel. It is a rare breed, in my opinion, in horror cinema. It's not something that I've seen a lot of. This person's opinion that it outdoes its predecessor. Um, I didn't think that. For me, I didn't think that, but many people there's this thing I've seen, people, which do you prefer, what orders and things like that for X and Pearl. So nothing against it, but for me, I prefer X. And that's just where I stand on that. But it is another part of this review was the almost 10-minute monologue. Okay, I'm glad somebody mentioned this in the review because I was like, what in the fuck is happening? And it was so like how they explained it. It was just gut wrenching, but also like I was like, what the fuck? This girl is not gonna like her sister-in-law who had no chance to speak. Like this woman just like spilled out her entire secrets of life that she has done to everyone, like killing mama, killing dad, killing, cheating on her husband, doing everything that she's done. And like, she is cracking. She is done. She's like, I'm just fucking letting it all out. And then we see the sister-in-law and she's just looking like, girl, I got to get the fuck out of here. Well, have a great night, Pearl. I'm not scared of you at all. Like she was like, she didn't play that off well. She looked terrified, which when someone drops a bombshell on you like that, I guess it's really hard to hide your feelings on it. But girl, you in danger, girl. You better run, bitch. No spoilers, but we can all assume what happens after that. But that concludes the top 3 best reviews on IMDb for the movie Pearl. I think that they were pretty accurate in their description for people that like the movie. And if you're interested in the movie and you were looking for good reviews, I think these are some good ones to check out and hear. Moving on to the top 3 worst reviews for Pearl on IMDb. First one's titled, Oh Dear. First of all, before I read the review, the title, Oh Dear. What the fuck is this? A 1950s goddamn sitcom? Oh dear. No, anyway. Oh my God. Here we go. This is how it starts. Ready? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This has to be the biggest pile of rubbish I have ever seen in a long, long time. So boring from the start to finish. What can I say about this apart from its utter garbage? I'd like to know where these high scores come from. 7.2 out of 10 IMDb? Seriously? Don't even bother wasting your time on this one. Trapped on her family's isolated farm, Pearl must tend to her ailing father under the bitter and overbearing watch of her devout mother, lusting for a glamorous life like she's seen in the movies. Pearl finds her ambitions, temptations, and repressions of all colliding in this origin story of X's iconic villain. I'm so confused about this. I'm confused because there's 2 paragraphs. I'm not sure. So I'm so confused. The 3 oh dears plus the title Oh Dear. Dear, we got it. And then the biggest pile of rubbish. Okay. It's rubbish, it's garbage from start to finish. They don't know where the high scores come from. Don't even bother wasting your time on this one. And then the reviewer proceeds to write a synopsis for the movie. Like, if you didn't like the movie, right? And you're telling people not to waste their time after you watch it, why did you then proceed to write a synopsis on the movie, which was a good synopsis of the movie? I mean, their synopsis of it was like, I'm interested. I'm very interested. Like, especially, her ambitions, temptations, and repressions all colliding in this origin story of X iconic villain. You even use the word iconic villain from this, and then go on before that and say how the movie was completely rubbish and just trash. Like, are you okay? I don't know. Did they like it or not like it? They say no. It was the worst, and don't waste your time. But then go visit this stellar fucking synopsis of the movie that makes us want to watch it. So fucking figure out what you like or don't like. I'm sorry. Moving on. Next one titled Horror. Really? I am sure a 6-year-old kid could have done a better job on this. I can't even imagine that someone rated this over 1 out of 10. If so, probably is in the mental whereabouts of Pearl. I mean, it is really a waste of time. At the end of the film, I was staring the screen for at least 3 minutes trying to figure out what the hell did I just saw, and moreover, why. It is so bad that balanced in the edge of being a good flop. If someone feels he needs to sacrifice 2 hours of his life, then this is the movie he was always looking for. Other than that, the most interesting thing in the movie is the end titles. What the fuck? Okay, first of all, please spell check, people. Fucking spell check. It's not that difficult. Phones have it. Everyone fucking has it. Figure it out. There's no fucking excuse in 2023 that I had to read like I'm illiterate. Okay? Fucking figure it out. Could have a 6-year-old, and literally says, I'm sure a 6-year-old kid could have done a better job on this. This fucking review writing, I fucking agree. 6-year-old kid could have written this much grammatically better. The fuck? You're probably in the mental whereabouts of Pearl. No. I just don't know what you were. You know what bothered me the most about this review? Is the last part of it. First of all, before we get to that, you stared at the screen for 3 minutes trying to figure out what you just saw. You're fucking being dramatic. You really like staring at the screen for 3 minutes. 3 minutes sounds not like a long time, but like 3 minutes is a long time to be staring at nothing, just trying to digest. Like, you're being dramatic. I believe you probably didn't do that. You probably didn't even pay attention to what the hell was going on. I don't even feel like. Did they even mention the movie X? Here we go. No. Did you even watch it? Doesn't even say anything about it. You probably had no idea what was going on because you didn't even pay attention that it was a fucking prequel to another film. But this is what bothered me the most about this reviewer, is that they only use the pronoun he. If someone feels he needs to sacrifice his life, he was always. Sir, there are other people. There are she's and theys and all these other people that enjoy the movie. So it's not just men out there. Figure out how to type. And that's all the time I'm wasting on your review. We're going to finish up the best and worst reviews of IMDb for the movie Pearl with this final worst review, titled Another Failure of a Movie from A24. Hugely disappointed. I was eager to watch this movie and had high hopes because of the high ratings, but clearly the ratings were false because this is one of the stupidest movies I have ever watched. All it is a psycho chick who kills her family and hates them, feeds people to her alligator, then talks for like half an hour explaining how messed up in the head she is and how deranged she is, then kills people. I was waiting and hoping for something exciting to happen, but nothing good happens. It's only a delusional chick who thinks she can dance. The whole entire film is just ridiculous and doesn't make a lot of sense. There is no storyline here. And the ending was just absolutely ridiculous and stupid. The whole movie is a waste of time. Don't believe the positive reviews, as it was clearly posted by people in the productions to try and up their ratings. Skip this movie. Total disappointment. This movie stinks big time. I will never give A24 another chance, as all their movies are stupid and disappointing and have the stupidest, laziest endings I've ever seen. Fuck. Fucking God. I like how they describe the movie as a psycho chick who kills her family, hates them, feeds people to her alligator, and then talks for half an hour explaining how messed up in the head she is and deranged and kills people. And then the next sentence, sorry, is I was waiting and hoping for something exciting to happen, but nothing good happens. What the fuck? More excitement do you want? You said she fed people to an alligator. That's pretty exciting. What excitement do you want in a movie? Please tell me, what is it? She killed people. She was psycho, right? It wasn't boring. I don't know what else you were waiting for. You went to see a movie based on a character who we already was established to be a serial killer in the movie X. So did you, again, not see the movie X? Did you not know who Pearl was? Did you not understand the assignment? Because you clearly said that this movie had no storyline. But, honey, it's a prequel origin story to introduce us to Pearl when she began her murderous ways. That was the storyline. That was the purpose of the movie. Did you miss that? I'm not sure what you expected to tie up when we have a character we meet almost 60 years later in the movie X. There's not going to be a definitive fucking end for the character Pearl, spoiler alert, until she's killed in X by Mia Goth's character in that movie. So it literally had a piece of her life that we were meant to see to understand her a little bit more. And I think that they succeeded in that. I feel that you didn't succeed in understanding that. And that concludes the top 3 best and worst reviews for the movie Pearl. So let's talk about what I liked and what I didn't like about the movie Pearl. Ready? My favorite thing from the movie was hard, so I split it. Okay, it's 2. I made it kind of 2. Start with the first one is the cinematography. I loved the cinematography in this movie. Loved it. I thought the colors were like everything about it was just so fucking pretty. I love the way that they made it look like it was back in the 1900 like 1918. God, I can't talk. And they like made the farm back how it was back in its glory days before we meet it back in the 70s. It just looks so pretty, and there was something about the colors that really reminded me of Wizard of Oz, which we read in one of the reviews, that they paid homage to the era of back then and the types of films with the font when Pearl comes across the screen. Like everything about it really read that time period. Like it could come across as that if we wanted to. If nobody knew these people, you could definitely read if a person that just came across it later in life. Second thing I like the most is Mia Goth. Her performance, I mean, she is fucking phenomenal. Like the praise that she gets is well deserved. I don't see the flaw. That monologue was amazing. The facial expressions, the emotions that she can portray is just amazing. And this movie being just about her character, and she pulled it off. We have seen in other media people with main parts that just don't sell the story. She sold the story, and I think partly that's she has strong opinions and a connection to this character, which is why she also co-wrote the movie, because she had a say in what this character was like. And the scene where she auditions is a heartbreaking scene. It is a very heartbreaking scene if you haven't seen it. But that's what I like. My favorite things from the movie Pearl. What I didn't like the most from the movie is that I feel like it lacked the suspense of the first film, X. And like I said, it's not that it takes away from what Pearl is and the purpose of Pearl, but for me, I like that suspense a little bit. I like to get a little bit of that feeling of like adrenaline, and it didn't happen for me in this, but it doesn't take away anything from the movie. It's just if I had to pick something, it was the lack from being in a horror movie and who she was before, the creepiness of her. I feel like that part I was missing. But that's the favorite things. And before we get on to my final rating and review, it's time to answer this week's terrifying trivia question. So I'm going to repeat the question, and the question was a multiple choice, and it was, Pearl's husband Howard was serving in which war? And the choices were A, World War I, B, World War II, or C, the Civil War. And the answer is A, World War I. Let me know in the comments if you had gotten that correct. But we've come to the point in our show where we're going to do my final rating and review. So my rating, I thought I would use top hats. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly why I'm using a top hat. That scene also was fucking weird and very weird and disturbing. So my rating for the movie Pearl is an 8 out of 10 top hats. It's 1 point below what I rated X, but I still highly enjoyed it. I liked a lot of aspects, and I think I dropped a point just because of the suspense that I was missing a little bit of. Other than that, 8 out of 10. I liked it. And here's my final review. Ready? Final review. Pearl is a fun, scary, and sad ride of watching how we got to the character we first met in X. While it lacks the suspense and darker atmosphere X had, it makes up for it with its beautiful Wizard of Oz-like colors, cinematography, and storyline. Watching Pearl's descent into madness is so captivating that you begin to root for her character as opposed to the normal villain of a horror movie. Fans of Mia Goth will not be disappointed as she delivers a masterful performance. And that is my final review on the movie Pearl. And if you want to know where you can go and watch it, where I found it was, you can rent it for $4.99 on Amazon Prime Video. And that concludes this week's episode of The Horror Within Me. Next weekend is the opening weekend for Scream 6. I'm so excited. I'm going to try very, very hard. I can make no promises to get my show in for Scream 6 the way that my schedule is. I have tickets to see it Saturday, and the show would have to air the following day. So if I cannot get it done in time, there will be no new episode on Saturday or Sunday, but I will try to get it in very quickly. So it might be a new show off, the 1 week or a couple of days off. But anyway, just stay tuned. There will be my review for Scream 6 coming next week at some point. But that is the end of this week's episode. Let me know what you liked about the show, what you didn't like about the show, and have a wonderful time. Bye, everybody. Thanks again for joining me on this week's episode of The Horror Within Me. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review wherever you listen to your podcast. And for even more Horror Within Me content, visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Horror Within Me for links to the website, my Patreon, and all of my social channels to stay up to date on all the spooky stuff that we're doing. So be safe, and until next time, stay spooky.